Hi, Yogi, and welcome to your practice. My name is Alan. This is Yin Yoga. For today's flow, it's all about the back, and so we will be doing a lot of reclining poses. You'll be on your back, maybe on your tummy, but you will really feel back bends and you'll feel a lot of pushing from the back. So you'll be using props if you have your bolster, your thick pillow. What I will be using are two yoga blocks to help us facilitate when it comes to relaxation of the back. So that would include your shoulders, your upper back, your mid back, as well as the lumbar spine, your the nearest on your hips. So when you're ready, we'll begin with our pose with the body on your belly. All right. So we're gonna stay here. Excuse me. And we'll be here on our belly with our elbows right under our shoulders, with our hands parallel to our shoulders or as wide as our shoulders. And spread your fingers apart. We'll be here. This is your sphinx. And you'll notice that your belly is pressing on the floor. Your hips are on the floor, as well as your knees and the tops of your feet. And at this point, try to lift your sternum or the front part of your chest, your breastplate. You'll be staying here for the next 2 minutes, so allow your breath to regulate you. And try to notice if the breath is hurried. Now, you might notice that the back bend, while it is subtle, can still feel its depth by the lower back trying to lift your chest up. And try to tilt your hips um, inwards, or rather outwards. So you're tilting it out or closer to the lumbar or the lower back, so you can feel the pressure on your hips against the mat. Slowly, we're gonna change the pose, this time with the seal. So that was our Sphinx pose. We're gonna extend our arms all the way to the top, and we're gonna straighten our arms as you lift your chest. So if you would need to spread the towel, especially for those of you who have sweaty palms, then go ahead, place your towels underneath them. And instead of trying to collapse your shoulders, try to pull them as you lift your chest. We're gonna stay here for a minute. If this is too much, you may also roll a blanket and place it under your groin or under your hip part, so that there might be some squeezing underneath, maybe your inner groin or your mid part of your abdominal wall. So try to maybe squeeze under a pillow or a blanket. Slowly begin to drop one elbow at a time. We'll just be staying on our Sphinx for another minute before we roll on to our backs. So again, allow yourself to notice if there's already strain around the shoulders. That means you're pushing too much. Try to step back and allow yourself to go gentle when it comes to yin. When you're ready, begin to walk your hands, one hand after the other. Place them under your shoulders as you lift yourself up. Spread your knees apart as wide as the mat. Big toes together. Then slowly pull your hips towards your heels. We're gonna stay here to our child's pose for another minute. You may drop your forehead, your elbows on your mat, and stay. Slowly, you're gonna walk your hands under your shoulders. Begin to press yourself up. Let's prepare as we lie down on our back. So sweep our feet under. How are you so far? And we're already preparing for our bedtime. But first, for those of you who will be using blocks, so what you will do first is have your blocks parallel to the short side of the mat. So creating this equal sign of the two blocks. You're gonna place your head on top of the top block, and then your shoulders will be on top of the lower block, or the block nearest to you. Alright, so when you're ready, we're gonna lie down. So have your hips right in front of the blocks with your heels on the floor, bend your knees, and then when you're ready, begin to walk back. And your mid back will lie on the second block, or the block nearest to you. Then the top block will be where your head will rest. And at this point, there's that feeling of pushing on the rhomboids, or the muscle underneath our shoulder blades. Okay, so you can also feel this with your mid back for those of you. And try to notice if there's sudden blood rush to our head. Then try to step back, or maybe lift your top block to its tallest height, so as not to feel that collapsing feeling. When you're ready, extending your arms or placing your arms to the side with your palms downwards. Begin to extend one leg at a time. We're gonna stay here for about 2 to 3 minutes. You might hear some cracks around the spine. Try to be gentle. If the block is quite, very sharp when it comes to the edges, then you may cover it with a towel or a blanket to help you stay on this pose. Now try not to hold your breath between poses. Let your breath be your guide, inhaling to your nose and exhaling to your nose. Slowly coming back to center, begin bending your knees and placing your feet on the floor. We're gonna roll to one side. So you're gonna lean onto one elbow as you lift yourself up. This time, we're gonna turn the block closest to you. This time parallel to your the long side of the mat. So a while ago it was an equal sign. This time we're gonna form a letter T with our blocks. And for those of you with the bolster or the pillow, the first one will have your bolster or your pillow parallel to the short side of the mat. This time we're gonna parallel the long side of the mat when it comes to your pillow or your bolster. Again, this is for your pillow or your bolster. For these props, the yoga blocks, you form a letter T with it. All right. So when you're ready, again, you're facing the bottom side of the mat. Begin to plant your feet on the floor, bending your knees, and when you're ready, you're gonna walk with your hands all the way back as you feel your mid back against the block closest to you. And then maybe assist with your top block. And you'll feel a lot around the mid part. And this helps us really feel that melting towards the side. You may want to have your palms facing upwards or downwards, whichever feels like today. When you're ready, begin to extend your legs downwards. If this is too much, maybe place a thick pillow under your legs to help you prop up. If again there are sharp edges of your blocks, then go ahead, wrap them with a towel. Allow yourself to breathing in and out of your nose, staying in this bridge or that heart or chest opener. If the back bend is so deep, you may slide a towel or a blanket under your hips to give you that elevation. If not, then just create those mini adjustments with your clothes, with your body, with your legs. Slowly come back to center. Begin to turn your palms down. You're gonna lean onto one side of your elbow again. So go ahead, bend your knees first and plant your feet on the floor. You're gonna assist as you roll onto one side. So with your elbow, push yourself up. And this time we're gonna set aside our blocks. We are getting ready to lie down. And first off, we're gonna do two more poses before we lie down to rest. Okay? So when you're ready, begin to roll back. And at this point, you can feel that your entire back is already ready to lie down. And it feels so good from the series of pushes coming from the blocks, coming from your bolster, your props. We're gonna do two variations of your happy baby, your Ananda Malasana. And so what you will do first, you're gonna pull your knees towards your chest. And then from here, you're gonna pull your knees apart with your feet together. You're gonna slide your arms in between your legs and then over. For some of you, this might be a little too hard when pulling your hands towards your chest. So you may use your strap, your yoga strap, to hold on to the feet and then pulling your elbows away for you to be able to sustain this pose. Maybe for those of you with hands that are sliding, then go ahead, adjust your hands every now and then as you come back to interlock your fingers around your feet. You'll be staying here for another minute, and later on we shall be doing another variation of your happy baby pose, your Ananda Malasana. Now slowly with your hands on the outer edges of your feet, try to pull your feet apart with the soles of your feet pointing towards the ceiling and your knees right by your side. This time you will feel a lot of pressure, not just from your inner thighs, but as well as the tension coming from the hips and your outer thighs. Go ahead, try to pull them. And for some of you, you might have this feeling of tension coming from the arms and not just from the thighs. So the option here is to hook your big toes with your first three fingers, and then you may focus on stretching your inner and outer thighs and not just your arms. So go ahead. This would allow your entire back to stay flat on the ground, and this would let go of any tension coming from your arms. Else, go ahead, go to the outer edges of your feet and stay. Slowly begin to pull your knees together. Stay here for a while as you can really feel that stretch of your inner groin. When you're ready, extend one leg at a time with your heels at the outer edges of your mat. Begin to extend your arms with your palms facing the ceiling. We'll stay here for a while. Create those micro adjustments with your clothes, with your body, maybe your shoulders. Allow yourself to completely rest in your corpse pose. Now slowly we're gonna roll onto one side and stay here for a while. Not rush yourself to pushing yourself up to avoid any blood rush towards your head. When you're ready, begin to push yourself up. Sit on your Sukhasana, easy seated pose, placing your hands together in prayer. Thank you so much for joining in this flow. I hope to see you again in your next practice.